With the events that unfolded in 2020 and the events already taking place at the beginning of 2021, many are beginning to realize the need to prepare themselves should an event occur, forcing them to take care of themselves. In this video, we'll lay out the steps you can take now over the next 30 days to keep you and your family safe if you had to survive for 30 days on your own. Now, most disasters don't last forever or forever change the way we live, so knowing you can make it for a month after a disaster will be enough to carry you through many of life's most formidable challenges. This video will outline a strategy for you to take that you can follow for 30 days. I'm currently developing a complete series of videos I'll release soon that will go into much greater detail than what we'll discuss in this video. Still, in light of recent events, I feel that it's very important to create this video, especially given the current situation and circumstances. Most of what we'll discuss in this video, it's high-level information that will give you a solid starting point. If you can understand and process what I'm going to teach you in this video, you'll be in a much better position.
Subscribe to our newsletter to become the first to receive updates and membership-specific content. Visit www.cityprepping.com/newsletter or click on the link in the description and comments section below to subscribe today. Enjoy the video. Supply and equip yourself. Having adequate supplies on hand when disaster strikes, it's critical. Knowing how to utilize those supplies is essential. So as much as you prepare your stores of food, water, tools, and whatever else you feel you need to also equip yourself with the skills and knowledge to appropriately use these things. 2 exercises I want you to start on day 1 are to start reading the labels. Look at both the nutritional label and the expiration label on the food you buy. For instance, did you know that most canned foods will last from 2 to 5 years when stored properly? There are one of 3 types of printed dates on most foods. Best if used before, sell by, and use by. Best is used before isn't about safety. It's about the freshness of the food. Sell by is a manufacturer's way to tell a retailer to pull the food after that date. It, too, is not a health and safety date. Use by is the last date that guarantees the best quality of a product. Non-perishable items like grains and dried and canned goods can still be used well past their label dates. As a general rule, discard any dented, bulging, or damaged can and approach any long-term food storage item with caution. What I want you to start doing, though, is looking at these advisory dates on your food. Start purchasing foods with a longer shelf life and get them into your core prepping supplies. You may not be able to buy a vacuum-sealed emergency 30-day supply of food in neatly packaged Mylar containers. They're expensive, and that's okay. In the first 30 days, I want you to focus on the basics. Buy a case of 24 cans a week of long-lasting foods. Buy 24 cans of soup, 24 cans of mixed vegetables, 24 cans of tuna or chicken meat. You'll find it is much cheaper to buy in bulk in large quantities, but you can start with just a few extra cans per paycheck. Shop for what you will eat now, but store away what you will eat later. When it comes to food, add to your list beans, rice, ramen, pasta, salt, sugar, cooking oil, and flour. Always be picking up at least one of these items extra for your supply. You will have to reseal most of the items for long-term storage to keep out moisture, insects, and rodents, but start building your supplies. Mason jars, even repurposed jars from other products you buy, are perfect for this purpose. Next, and here's the real secret, start eating your supplies. Don't just put them away for when disaster strikes. You need to know how to cook the food, and your body needs to know how to process it. You might find that you really don't do beans and rice that well. It's better to know that than 5 days into the aftermath of a disaster. You may find you don't know how to bake at all. Now's the time to equip yourself with these skills. Using your food supplies informs your decisions on the other items you need as well. You likely won't be using your powdered milk, canned butter, or hardtack, but you should be trying to utilize the core staples from your supplies. This gives you a 360-degree view of your readiness. Do you rely on an electric can opener? Well, it's time for a handheld can opener. Do you lack cooking skills? Well, here's your chance to learn. Do you now realize you need other foods and spices to round out your food stores? Here's your opportunity to add those things to your shopping list. Do you now realize your cookware isn't going to last as long as that cast iron pan? Now's your time to get that item you need and learn how to cook with it. What you're doing is training your brain through practical application. To this end, I have one more exercise for you in these first 30 days, and that is visualizing the water you'll need to survive. As a general guideline, one person will require 1 gallon per day to cook, drink, and wash. There are many variations to this, like physical activity level, exposure to the elements, rationing, and fighting off dehydration. Still, for our purpose, the 1 gallon per day, it's a good starting point. What you need to do is be able to visualize that. Maybe you can't afford the 2 stackable Works containers of 10 water bricks like I have at cityprepping.com. After all, such solutions are expensive, but you still need to wrap your head around that amount of water and the space it would require. An emergency water bob meant for a bathtub which can be filled in minutes after or preceding a disaster, will hold roughly 100 gallons. There could be 3 persons through the 30 days following a disaster. That might be part of your solution, but to fully understand the water paradigm, I'd want you to start buying and stacking in one place, gallon by gallon, the 30 gallons per person you need. One thing to note is that when it's all done in one place, this will weigh almost 250 pounds. This exercise here is to really wrap your head around and begin tackling the volume of your water needs. While you're at it, and in the interest of equipping yourself, start drinking 1 gallon of water per day. That's around 4 liters. Many people are walking through their daily lives in a constant state of dehydration. You need to really understand what being properly hydrated feels like to understand better when you're not. Surviving the trauma of dramatically reduced fluid intake begins with recognizing the signs. The foggy thinking, the dryness, the decreasing capabilities of your body's movements. So, to supply and equip yourself week by week, you can keep track on a printed calendar. When you add food items to your stores, note it on the day of the calendar. When you take food items from your stores, note it on the calendar. When you make your water consumption goal, write H2O on the day and circle it. Your goal is to drink a gallon of water on 5 of the 7 days per week. This will build toward a visual representation of your progress over the 30 days. That will help you build a solid foundation and inform you how you need to progress after the 30 days. There are other aspects to equipping yourself beyond food and water. There are actual equipment and sundries and medicines, and so on that, you'll need to start putting it in your storage. For these first 30 days, review some of the other essential prepping supply videos on this channel and others. Learn what you need beyond food and water. But our goal for those 30 days is to build your food supplies, learn to use your supplies, and what you still need, and understand the water paradigm and your place in it. If you add other items beyond food and water to your inventory, like feminine hygiene products, camping products, or medicine, still note it in your calendar. Physical readiness. The majority of people, even well-supplied people, will not survive the first 30 days of a major disaster without significant outside assistance. Think of it like trying to run a marathon in loafers or heels. Our shoes are all wrong for the task we're putting them through. On top of that, though, nobody runs a marathon without preparing for it. If you're winded climbing the stairs or the exercise you get is moving from the couch to the mailbox every day, you have a hard time after disaster even if you have all the fanciest and most expensive survival gear and supplies. Well, your body, it just won't be able to handle it. Before the lockdowns of 2020, many of us may have made New Year's resolutions to get to the gym and commit to fitness. Many gyms rely upon the income from January to February alone to make it through most of their year. New memberships soar with people telling themselves, this is the year. Inevitably, the same cycle plays out year after year. Enthusiasm is met with sore muscles, which lead to skipped days, which lead to feelings of failure, which leads to giving up. At least 30 out of every 100 gym members are still paying on a gym membership they haven't used in over a month, and that's just a fact. Prepping is also about physically prepping yourself. It's hard to do even just a little bit 7 days a week, which is why I suggest you do a little bit 5 days a week. That could mean going for a jog or popping a workout DVD in your player, but you still have to do something. It could be just walking every day. It could mean you do it 5 straight days in a row, or you just can't one day and you need a rest. My suggestion is to start small, but strive for consistency. You can always build later. Set yourself a target like 30 push-ups and 50 sit-ups per day, and try to hit that target 5 of the 7 days per week. Set yourself a goal of walking 3 miles per day, and try to hit that target 5 of the 7 days. Set a plan to do that DVD workout and try to do it 5 of the 7 days. Go on a hike on the weekends and get your 30 minutes or more in while invigorating yourself. If you set several options for yourself, you can put a check mark on your calendar for meeting your physical fitness goals for 5 of the 7 days. And this will give you a visual representation of your progress. This is so critical to genuinely wrapping your head around your progress. By the end of the month, you can reevaluate, either adding in other options or increasing the work's strenuousness when your body is ready. If you can meet your goal of physical fitness activities 5 of the 7 days a week for an entire month, and you commit to drinking the gallon of water per day for a whole month, you may see other problems disappear. You will likely feel you have greater mental clarity. You may feel like you have more energy. You will be building a foundation you can build upon in the next cycle of 30 days. You will be increasing your chances of surviving if a disaster strikes on day 31. And I can't stress this aspect enough. And I'll address it in future videos and content this year. But physical readiness is a long game of prepping to survive. You can't buy it off the shelf, and you can't unwrap it the minute you need it. You need to start small now and stay consistent over a long period of time to be ready when you need it. Finally, have both a strategy for eating better by preparing your food and for physical fitness. If you find yourself in lockdown, you have an opportunity to focus on your nutrition and your cooking of quality foods. You will save a lot of money, as most food is marked up around 300% by restaurants. You'll also be able to understand better what's fueling your body. If you've ever worked in the restaurant industry, you know that restaurant food isn't very healthy. Extra fats, sugars, and salts are how your cravings are triggered. It's how they keep you coming back. That burger, fries, and soda you get once a week may taste good now, but it's going to take you a long time to burn that out of your system. Set a goal as well to prepare your food. Again, 5 of the 7 days a week, at least. Make it a challenge to never throw out a bag of salad greens or fresh produce again. Prepare yourself in those 30 days for the physical challenge of survival starting on day 31. Mental preparedness. Survival is mental. It's having the right knowledge, knowing how to apply it, and having the will and desire to survive. Your mental preparedness, like your physical preparedness, is something you need to build up over these next 30 days to have a chance on day 31. I view this as equal parts feeding your soul and strengthening your skills. Like the physical regime I outlined above, you need to focus on accomplishing one of the 3 things on 5 of the 7 days, and you should try to vary them up to get the full effect. First, read and research to learn a new skill or better understand a prepping practice. I try to read at least 30 minutes a day. Sometimes I can only get a chapter in because of time. Set a goal to strive for according to your schedule. Here you are reading with intent. Have you always been interested in canning fruit or making jam, but you never did? Now's the time. Your goal is to acquire a fundamental understanding of a wide range of practices, even if your understanding is only theoretical. You may not be able to go fishing, but you still want to know how to tie a fisherman's knot. Once you learn it, you'll know it for life, and you may be able to say you know how to tie a bow, an overhand knot, and a fisherman's knot. I used to tell my Cub Scouts that every knot you learn will be of use to you when you need it most. You may never need to know a monkey fist knot, but when you're in a situation where you need to have one, you are more likely to survive. Knots are a quick way to build your skills that can lead to understanding weaving and knitting. They're also easy to learn with just 2 pieces of rope. Maybe your reading and research is just to brew beer, make bread, or garden. Perhaps it's to learn the ideal growing season of certain vegetables and collect heirloom seeds for next season. Maybe it's to fix your engine or install a light fixture. By reading and researching with the intent of learning a skill, you're conditioning your mind to become more self-sufficient and more confident. Now, I say both reading and research because you get the most from reading, but sometimes you get just what you need to know from a good YouTube video. If you want to learn the basics of brewing, for instance, there are whole channels dedicated to that. If you want to learn how to prep, well, there are many videos right here that will get you on the path, and there are several blogs at City Prepping that carry much of the same information. Over 30 days, you will start to turn your brain towards self-sufficiency and away from overdependence on systems and services that will eventually fail you. Second, read to ask the right questions. I am a big advocate of learning from financial gurus like Robert Kiyosaki, Dave Ramsey, and even Susie Orman. You have to understand every resource, including financial, coming in and going out. If you haven't read them to ask yourself the right questions, well, you should. The same is true for philosophy and scripture. Reading books that help you define your place and positioning in the world, both physically and spiritually, help you develop your internal resources and ask yourself questions. Maybe you just want to understand your physical placement in the world. Read history books about your community. Pick up a guide on foraging and understand the plants in your environment. Read and research with the intent of understanding yourself and your world. I'll let you ponder the possibilities and topics involved with that. Third, take time to reflect and ask yourself questions. Develop a habit of dialoguing with yourself. Ask yourself where you want to be, how you're going to get there, and what you can do right now to take a step, even just one step in that direction. Maybe you want to journal or list out pros and cons. Train your brain to be curious, creative, calculating, and self-reflective. When you read on a topic for improvement of skills or assists you with self-reflection, write the titles of what you have read on the calendar. Here too, it is essential to visualize your progress and keep you consistent throughout. 30 days of preparing your mind in this manner may seem like nothing to you. We're less apt to see the changes in ourselves before others see them in us. I promise you though that if you can stick to these mental preparedness practices long enough to make them a bit of a habit, you will find yourself in a position to tackle whatever challenges may come your way. You'll be agile in a crisis and capable of surviving. Using your 30 days. I know it's a tremendous amount to absorb and it may seem like too much, but trust me, it really isn't. It is just trying to concentrate on the efforts you may have sporadically tried in the past. To this end, recording your notes and marking off on your calendar will help you keep your efforts focused, concentrated, and progressing. If you're new to prepping, you can become more confident you're making progress. If prepping is an old hack to you, well, you'll have a means in your hands to reassert the core principles of your prepping. To use a calendar, just circle the day you're starting your regime and the day that is 30 days from that starting point. When you purchase supplies or equipment, document it. In this way, you will begin to inventory your supplies. When you store away another gallon of water, document it. Write out H2O and circle it on the days when you consume your gallon of water. When you complete one of the physical readiness or mental preparedness goals for that day, mark that on the day you achieved it. Strive for 5 of the 7 days with each of the goals you set. Remember, you want to start to build healthy habits and a survivor mindset that will later assure you that you have the internal resources to survive. The final thing for the calendar record is to write a few sentences about how you feel right now and what you hope to gain from these 30 days on the back of the page. Don't bother looking at it until the end. At the end of the 30 days, reread it and reflect on whether you think you have made any personal progress. Are you better prepared? What do you need to tackle next to better position yourself to survive in the future?
I'm confident that if you can work on this plan, you will know what you need to work on in phase 2 of your personal preparedness plan. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I'll be doing more in-depth videos shortly covering introduction guides laid out in a very systematic way to take you step by step. So if you'd like to be notified when those come out, please be sure to click on the subscribe button below. My goal is to define for you the core of prepping and to provide easy instructions for getting your preps in order. I'd love to read in the comments if you commit to this plan, and I want you to come back after 30 days and tell me your results. Let others know what worked best for you and why. Write a comment below about what you started prepping and what your best success was. I read many of the comments and respond to them when I can. That's usually within the first hour of releasing the video. But on this one, I will circle back to the video periodically to read people's progress. I can notify you when other videos become available after you subscribe to this channel. If you found this video informative and helpful, please feel free to share it with your friends and family and help us build our community. As always, please stay safe out there.